grocery store near my house always felt wrong. Not dangerous in an obvious way, not dirty or abandoned or poorly run. It looked perfectly normal from the outside. Bright banners, clean glass doors, shopping carts stacked neatly like obedient soldiers waiting for orders. But the people inside, they were different. The first time I noticed it, I told myself I was imagining things. Everyone has bad days. Retail workers deal with rude customers all the time. Maybe they were just tired. That explanation worked until they started following customers into the parking lot. If someone forgot to return a shopping cart, an employee would chase them down, yelling loudly enough for everyone to hear, not reminding them, scolding them. Their voices carried a strange intensity, like broken politeness, stretched over deep irritation. It felt less like customer service and more like enforcement. One afternoon, I learned how serious they were about their rules. I'd finished shopping and was heading toward the exit when a woman stepped directly into my path. She moved so suddenly that I nearly collided with her. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "You have to show proof of purchase," she said. Her voice was thin and sharp, almost like a hiss forced through clenched teeth. I blinked. "Are you serious? I don't remember that rule." She didn't answer right away. Instead, she slowly raised her arm and pointed toward a tiny bulletin posted near the wall, so small it blended into the background advertisements. "Read the sign." I squinted at it. The text was cramped, dense, and easy to miss unless you were actively searching for it. "I didn't see that," I said. Her expression hardened, as if my ignorance personally offended her existence. "Customers are required to comply." There was no warmth in her tone, no patience, just cold authority. Embarrassed, I retraced my steps through the food court until I found my receipt abandoned beside a tray. When I returned and handed it to her, she snatched it, marked it aggressively with a pen, and shoved it back toward me. "Don't ever forget it again." She waved me away without another glance. I remember walking to my car, feeling strangely unsettled, not angry, not even upset, observed. Like I had failed a test I didn't know I was taking. A few days later, I had to go back. My husband had developed a terrible cough, and after searching everywhere, we discovered only that store carried the herbal medicine he needed. I hesitated before leaving the house. I actually stood by my keys for a full minute, debating whether the trip was worth it. But sickness doesn't wait for comfort. So I drove there again. The parking lot looked normal, but stepping inside felt like crossing into a different atmosphere. The air seemed heavier. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly overhead, casting a pale glow that made everyone's skin look slightly gray. I grabbed a basket and hurried toward the supplement section, hoping to get in and out without speaking to anyone. "Lost," the voice came from behind me, deep, rough, and irritated. I turned to see a bald employee pushing a cart overflowing with returned items. A long scar ran along the side of his head, disappearing behind his ear. He stared at me with open resentment. No, I said quickly. "Good," he muttered. "'Cause if you get lost, I'm not helping." He jabbed a finger toward the cart. "I'll be restocking shelves all day." The way he said restocking sounded like punishment. I forced a polite smile and walked away, my shoulders tense. I didn't want another confrontation. I just needed the medicine. The seasonal herbs aisle was quiet, too quiet. I knelt down to grab the bottle my husband needed when voices drifted from the next aisle. At first I ignored them, then I heard something that made my stomach tighten. "Ugh, these humans are so annoying." I froze. Another voice answered, the bald man. "Yeah, tell me about it." I slowly stood, barely breathing. "They come in here constantly," the woman continued, whining, asking questions, touching everything. Her tone wasn't joking. It was disgusted. The bald man sighed heavily. "Just a few more hours and the invasion will be declared. Infiltrating this society has been so dull." My heart began pounding. Invasion. I told myself they were joking. They had to be joking. But then he said something that erased any comfort. "Have you seen what these people do with the resources they acquire here? It's disgusting." "Yes," the woman replied. "They ingest items into their faces, then vacate it through openings in their lower bodies." They sounded confused, clinical, like researchers describing animals they didn't understand. A cold wave of fear spread through me. I grabbed the medicine and hurried toward checkout, pretending I hadn't heard anything. The cashier waiting there was tall and painfully thin. His face was covered in bright red pimples that seemed almost luminous under the lights. "Did you find what you needed?" he asked pleasantly. His voice sounded normal, but his eyes lingered too long. "Yes," I said quietly. He scanned the item. The beep echoed louder than it should have. "That'll be $30. I paid quickly and left, eager to breathe fresh air again. I almost made it away without incident. I started my car and began backing out when something slammed against my window. I screamed. The tall cashier's face was pressed against the glass, flattened unnaturally, his eyes wide and bloodshot. "Excuse me, miss." My hands trembled as I lowered the window slightly. "You forgot something." He held up my credit card. Relief washed over me. "Oh, thank you. That was silly of me." As I reached for it, his hand shot inside and grabbed the steering wheel. His grip was impossibly tight. Up close, I noticed his skin twitching. Small ripples moved beneath it, as if something alive shifted under the surface. "You seem like a nice lady," he said softly. His smile widened too far. "It's going to be so sad watching what they do to you." My throat went dry. What do you mean?" He pointed toward the store behind him. "To you, to them, to everyone who's not us." The pimples on his face brightened, pulsing faintly. "When the lights start this evening, don't go outside." He handed me the card and stepped away, giggling quietly. "You'll thank me." I drove home shaking and immediately called the police. They investigated, but none of the employees matched his description. No tall man, no glowing skin, nothing. It was as if he had never existed. Eventually, exhaustion overcame fear and I fell asleep. Hours later, my husband shook me awake. "There are strange lights outside." The room glowed purple through the curtains. I looked out the window and felt my stomach drop. The sky was alive with moving colors, enormous beams stretching across the darkness like searching fingers. News alerts flooded phones. No one knew what was happening. Some blamed foreign weapons, others claimed extraterrestrials. Every warning said the same thing: stay indoors. And suddenly I remembered his words: "When the lights start, don't go outside." My husband laughed nervously. "I want a better look." He walked toward the front door. Something inside me screamed to stop him, but confusion slowed my reaction. The door opened. A beam of violet light struck instantly. His scream lasted less than a heartbeat. Then he was gone. Where he stood was only steaming flesh and burned clothing collapsing onto the ground. I couldn't breathe. Across the street, my neighbor shouted from her window, "Get inside! The lights are killing people!" Screams erupted throughout the neighborhood as beams swept across houses, dissolving anyone caught outside. I ran back inside and locked the door, shaking violently. Through my bedroom window, I saw it, hovering above the clouds, a massive structure shaped like a floating castle, dark, impossible, ancient. Shapes circled it endlessly, watching, selecting, harvesting, and suddenly I understood. The grocery store employees weren't workers. They were observers. They had lived among us, studying behavior, consumption, routines, learning how humans lived before the harvest began. The store wasn't meant to sell food. It was meant to study a species. We were never customers. We were samples. The lights continued for hours, and I stayed hidden until morning. When the sky finally cleared, officials called it an unexplained atmospheric event. But I know the truth, because one of them warned me. Not all of them wanted us destroyed, and the most terrifying realization still keeps me awake at night. The invasion didn't start with the lights. It started quietly, inside ordinary places, staffed by faces we trusted, watching us every day, learning, waiting, preparing for the moment the sky would finally open again.